Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Geek-Minded Fools. My name's Graham.
And I'm Scott.
We'll start off as usual with a visit to Scott in his monkey farm.
Hey, partners, it's time to see what Scott's doing down on his monkey farm.
Welcome once again to my monkey farm, and it very much is my monkey farm. Okay?
It is your monkey
I
farm.
pick the news here. I decide what goes on.
You are the newsman.
I'm the newsman. This is stuff that interests me. I don't care about anyone else really. This is just a chance for me to vent my shit.
Spleen. Yeah.
Vent my spleen, yeah. So news this week really. We've just had the BAFTAs, the Games BAFTAs, which very proudly the Brits won.
Hey.
Brits won something. Destiny got best game. Also as well, I've got some Ghostbusters news for you. Because I know you love my Ghostbusters news.
Current Ghostbusters news. Okay.
All right, just hold fire, hold fire. And it looks like Chuck Palahniuk is bringing Fight Club back for us.
He is.
In some form or another.
Yes, Fight Club 2.
Electric Boogaloo.
Hey!
Yeah, see, that's where people don't learn, do they? Every sequel should be called that. After 1984, that should have been law.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll start at the top. So, yeah, the BAFTAs, as I say. Destiny.
The Game BAFTAs.
The Game BAFTAs.
Video
so, yeah,
Game
the BAFTAs, the BAFTA Game Awards, as it's called.
Okay.
Destiny won the best game, which was no real surprise. I mean, personally, I would have put Alien Isolation in for it, not just because I worked on it. I just thought it was a bigger game story-wise. But Destiny got it. Well done to them. They did brilliantly. But the most important thing about the BAFTAs this year were Monument Valley got Best British Game and Best Mobile Game. This is from a tiny little dev team called Us 2.
Never heard of it.
It gets a little name check in House of Cards season.
Season
whatever the last season
never
was.
watched that. So
you need to watch House of Cards.
Yes, I do.
Because
I need to watch so much stuff, honestly.
Kevin Spacey's character does give it a brief little mention. I think the guys at the dev team, Us 2, must have absolutely shit a brick when they realised that their game had been name checked in House of Cards. But no, really, really well done to them. One of the guys at the dev team, Us 2, I worked with very briefly when I worked my first stint at Sega.
Oh, okay.
Really, really lovely guy called Michael Anderson. If you're listening, Michael, well done, mate. Brilliant. Excellent work. The game itself is just...
so he was there collecting the award, was he?
He was, yeah.
You were like, I know him!
I was indeed. I was very excited for him. It was a really nice feeling because he's a genuinely lovely, lovely lad, a really nice guy. Quite a big team. The game itself is set in kind of an MC Escher-esque labyrinthine kind of world. You're guiding Princess Ida through mazes and such like. But the thing about the game is that it's very, very short and sweet.
Right.
It can be completed in a very short amount of time. And I think that's what a lot of people have loved about it. Because I did hear them when they were doing their little interview on the TV regarding the award. One of the head devs said to the interviewer, how many games have you completed this year? And the interviewer kind of said, well, very few. And he said, but have you completed ours? And he said, well, yeah. That's it, isn't it? Really?
Absolutely. High praise.
But yeah, I won't whittle on too much about that. But it's just more to say, well done to a British dev team for winning the best British game, best mobile game.
Fantastic.
Right, next up, Chuck Palahniuk. I think that's how you pronounce his name.
Yeah.
You know who I mean. Anyway.
Good enough. We know you.
The Fight Club,
Mr.
dude.
Fight
Mr.
Club.
Fight Club.
Yeah.
So 1996 was the original novel. Now we are 2015. See how good I am at remembering what year we're in.
Very up to date. Yes.
And we've got on May the 27th, I believe, around about that time, Fight Club 2 coming out in comic book form.
Absolutely. Published by Dark Horse.
Yeah, indeed.
Yes.
Do you know what? I'm not too sure I'm into this. I don't think we need it, do we?
To me, I think it was a hugely popular film at the time, and I can remember it being very trendy to like it, and everybody was saying how great it was, and
whereas I imagine now it'd be trendy not to like it.
The big twist. Well,
if you're a hipster.
Which
you are, aren't you? You are a hipster.
What?
But yeah, Fight Club 2, as you say, the film was massively popular.
Yes. But I think it was very much of its time.
Yeah.
And I just think to go back and revisit the characters, or the character, I should say.
Spoilers if anyone hasn't seen Fight Club. I've read the synopsis. Okay, the synopsis is basically our character, the narrator, whom I don't ever remember being named in the film.
Edward Norton's
character, yeah.
No, I can't think what his name is.
In this, he's Sebastian.
Right, okay.
It's set 10 years after the events of the finale of that brilliant finale with the Pixies going off in the background, all the buildings dropping, which I still think is one of the most brilliant end scenes in a film. Set 10 years after, he is now on a series of pills which I imagine are to suppress his Tyler Durden-esque rages.
He's a multiple personality disorder.
He's got a wife, he's got a kid. Do you know what? I love Fight Club. I'm not sure I'm going to be into this. I'll read it. I'll give it a go, but...
Will you? It's a comic.
No, I will, because it's Fight Club. And,
Okay.
and Fight Club I do love. I think it is a great, great film.
Right.
I'm not sure it needs to be done, as I keep saying. But let's see what happens. As I say, it comes out May 27th. It's going to have some variant covers by one of our best friends, Lee Mayo, who did the Joker cover. And I believe the artwork is by a chap called Cameron Stewart. So we'll see what happens. Now, Graham, hold tight, sir. Hold tight.
I'm already gritting my teeth.
Okay, well, I do my Annie Potts impersonation. I slap the table and shout, "We got one!
We got one!"
Ghostbusters, obviously we know that there is going to be a sequel. Or a threequel, if you like.
Is it a sequel or is it just...
Apparently it is. Apparently,
it's in the same universe.
It's very much set in the same universe. So it's got a release date, the lot. You know, it is a proper film and everything.
Absolutely.
It's coming out July 22nd, 2016. Now, this is going to be our female-centric Ghostbusters, all right? Now, the Ghostbusters here now, we've got Melissa McCarthy, Kristen Wiig, Leslie Jones, Kate McKinnon. For the last two names, I'm going to do my...
As we mentioned a couple of episodes ago, I think they're Saturday Night Live alumni, and therefore people who Wiig in particular is familiar with and has worked with. So,
and I love Kristen Wiig. I think she's brilliant. Her in Paul.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah,
awesome.
And Bridesmaids as well. I thought she was very good in that.
Yeah, it's a good little movie. It's Melissa McCarthy in Bridesmaids.
She is as well.
Yes. Now, Melissa McCarthy, I can take or leave. I think she is very funny in the right role. Let's hope this is the right role for her. At first, the whole female thing, I was a little bit meh about, but let's see what happens. Anyway, I digress. There was a big uproar, obviously, about this female-centric Ghostbusters, as you well know. So it has now come out that Aykroyd and Reitman, obviously two of the original
Dan Aykroyd and
Ivan Reitman, have set up a company called Ghost Corp, which is going to handle all things Ghostbusters related, all things spectral, if you like, from movies to lunchboxes. I didn't like the fact that in the press release, Ivan Reitman has openly said, you know, we want to encompass everything from new films to merchandise. And it's like, that's a little bit. But this also means we're going to get another film, a male-centric film, which is going to come out the same year and act as a companion piece to this threequel.
Indeed.
Channing Tatum and possibly Chris Pratt set to star. Do you know what? Again, I'm not sure this is needed, guys. We already had a perfectly good male-centric Ghostbusters movie, didn't we? It was called Ghostbusters.
It was indeed. As I mentioned last time, I don't even think Ghostbusters 2 was all that necessary. I felt it was a very, very poor relation. And even to the extent that when I bought Ghostbusters on Blu-ray, just Ghostbusters on its own was the same price as the box set of 1 and 2, and I went for just 1 on its own because I have no intention of watching 2 again. It is a very, very poor relation.
It has one good scene, and that's the scene in the courtroom with the Scoleri brothers, and that's the best bit in it.
To
and
me,
other than that, it's not a great film.
It's unnecessary. The Statue of Liberty, but is all that needs to be said. Back in episode 2, I obviously rallied against the need for a Ghostbusters reboot and was saying that if they wanted to make a film with these 4 women, then give them something of their own, something original that isn't going to be compared. And I feel exactly the same way about the male Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters was a film that's very much loved by our generation, particularly.
Yeah, very much.
It was the first film I ever went to see twice at the cinema.
I think it was the first film I saw at the cinema.
There you go. And I just think that to suddenly find out that this whole thing has been brought about by Reitman and Aykroyd, and apparently they've been trying to do this for a while. They've been trying to market Ghostbusters as a brand and almost franchise it out so you can buy a Ghostbusters film in the same way you can buy a Subway or a KFC.
Yeah.
To hear 2 of the guys, obviously the director, stroke writer and stroke writer of the original film, and to hear that they're effectively just turning something that's so beloved to people like us into a bit of a cash cow and a merchandising machine and just cha-ching, it kind of does give you a bit of a bitter taste in your mouth.
Have they not done this before, though, previously? They've already turned it into a cash cow once with related cartoons, comic books, toys.
I wouldn't imagine that they were the ones who were driving that. That was probably an animation company saying, right, we realise that we can make a bit of money on this. Can we have a cartoon called The Real Ghostbusters? But this is these people actually going out and, as I say, almost franchising the concept, saying, you know, come here, get your Ghostbusters franchise, set up your own film, set up your own video game, set up your own comic book. Obviously, there is currently a Ghostbusters comic published by IDW, so I don't know, you know, what repercussions that this is going to have on that, whether you're suddenly going to have spin-offs of spin-offs of spin-offs. And I just think, why are we doing this? To me, it seems completely unnecessary.
Yeah, no, I wholeheartedly agree. It's odd now to see people like Ernie Hudson, who played Winston Zeddemore in the original 2 films, who had exactly the same opinion that you've just given us, has now completely U-turned on this. Now the cast for the female flick has come out. He's like, yeah, they're very good actresses. I can't think of anyone better to be Ghostbusters.
I'm not saying they're bad actresses. The thing is, the whole concept to me is entirely unnecessary.
Yeah.
You're doing it simply to make money. And okay, I know it's Hollywood, and I know that they aren't a charity, these studios, and they're all about making money. But have a bit of artistic integrity. You know, there must be tens of thousands great unmade scripts out there, and we're just going back to the same well and doing it. And for Reitman and Aykroyd to actually turn around and say, we've been trying to market this for a long time and actually franchise it out and sort of try and grow the brand, it just stinks of cashing in on something.
It's as mind-blowing as the fact that the guy who originally voiced Venkman in the cartoon voiced Garfield, and Bill Murray played Garfield in the live-action film. Yeah? That's pretty mind-blowing, isn't it? I knew that would blow your mind. Let's not talk about Ghostbusters anymore, purely for the fact that it's getting me down.
It's depressing you.
It's depressing me. I'll tell you what, I'll go and see the films. I will go and see them, because if I don't go and see them and they're shit, I can't slag them off.
I see, I won't. You and I are very different like that. You feel the need. But then, of course, I think that's based on the fact that you illegally download films, which means you can watch any of these films for free.
How dare you?
Whereas I don't illegally download films, and therefore, if I go and see these things, I have to pay for them in some form or other. I will imagine that by the time they hit free television in 2020, I will probably stick them on, but only to see how bad they are. I will have no love for them at all. I have a Ghostbusters, and Ghostbusters was such an important part of my life at that time. I remember going with school friends, and I can remember one particularly hilariously funny thing that happened to me, and it sounds really tame now, but I was sitting next to a guy called Roger Summers, and before the film had started, I just turned to him and said, "Hey, Rog." And he did one of the funniest things I've ever seen, which is he turned his head towards me, but really, really slowly. And it took him about 45 seconds for his face to move from facing forward to facing me. And by the time he got there, I was in fits of laughter. It was
don't take much for you, does
Indeed, it doesn't. But it was just, and that's something that I remember. And this was over 30 years ago, and I still remember that, and I still remember going to see that film, and I still remember, because of course the Ray Parker Jr. song had charted before the film came out over here, because of course it was released when it came out in the States, and of course this is back in the day when the States would get films 6 months before us. You know, you don't get these sort of simultaneous releases that you get now, and so the song had been released in line with the American release, and so we'd had it, and what was great was the opening titles kicked in, and the whole cinema is shouting "Ghostbusters" along with the song, which was and you never got that sort of thing back then.
I've only ever experienced that once, and that was when I went to see Back to the Future, when everyone cheered when George punched Biff.
Right,
it's the only time I've ever had that sort of reaction in the cinema. That and that time when I was doing that thing I shouldn't have been doing in the cinema. Just call me Pee Wee Herman.
But, I just think I've got my Ghostbusters, and I understand that, yes, there are people who are from a generation that wasn't around when Ghostbusters were there and probably maybe have never seen the original Ghostbusters.
Shame on them.
To me, it's a bit like somebody saying, oh, yes, Return to Oz was really good, but I've never seen Wizard of Oz. My one's Return to Oz. And it's like, well, if you haven't seen Wizard of Oz, then you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
I would want them to go back and watch the original film and enjoy that for what it was. And yes, some of the references might seem dated now, but performances like that and comedy like that and timing like that is timeless. And to think that some people, their only Ghostbusters is going to be these ones, I think it's a real shame.
It is a real shame. I'm going to give one little honourable mention for a Ghostbusters.
You do love an honourable mention,
I do.
Don't you?
There's a guy on YouTube who puts himself up as Musicless Music Video. Okay, guys, if you get a chance, just go onto YouTube, type this in, music video / Ray Parker Jr. Ghostbusters. It is absolute genius. It's the Ghostbusters music video, but with all the music removed. It comes across as just a really, really creepy guy stalking a girl in an apartment and then popping out from under her bed every now and again. Please watch it. It is awesome.
Now,
we'll maybe put a link up on the Facebook page to it because it is that good.
The only one that I've seen of that is the Star Wars end scene, the medal scene, with no sound whatsoever. The only sound is a really ridiculous Wookiee sound they put on when Chewie does it. That is brilliant. Classic.
Excellent stuff.
Anyway.
Well, that's it from the monkey farm. So we'll get out of my monkey farm.
Thank you, Scott. Right, and now we'll move on to this week's Quick Hits.
Quick Hits.
I think it's your turn to go first, Scott. So
Is
what
it
have you
my
got for us?
turn?
It is you.
Cricket. Well, I'm not prepared for this, Graham. No one told me I was going to have to be prepared for this. Of course, I'm prepared for this.
Of course he is.
Now, later on this episode, we're going to be talking a little bit more about the Comic-Con.
We will, yes, because of course we recorded the last episode after day one, thinking, well, day two's not going to match it. And day two did a pretty good job of matching it.
It certainly did, but I was far too hopped up on crack to have recorded any more episodes of this podcast that weekend. For my quick hit of this episode, I'm going to throw you a little curveball.
Oh, all right.
You might have heard me humming and singing earlier. So my quick hit this week is Return to the Last Chance Saloon by the Blue Tones, because it was the album that we listened to on the way.
We did.
To this year's Comic-Con.
Yes.
And it's an album that we both absolutely adore. And you know what? I hadn't listened to it in quite a number of years, I think, until the day we were sat in the car on the way to the Comic-Con.
Yeah.
My God, what an astonishingly good album.
It is a fantastic album.
I know. Obviously, it's their second album, came out in '98. It just blew me away listening to it again, because there's not one song on it that you can't sing along to. There's not one song on it that you kind of think, I'll just skip this one. Mm-hmm. Just every single one's a winner, isn't it? Yep. 4 Day Weekend, If, Sleazy Bed Track. Dude, what a great album. What a great album. My quick hit this week is going to be so short. It's just a plea to all listeners out there. If you've got a love of music, go and download Return to the Last Chance Saloon by the Blue Tones. Unfortunately, the Blue Tones are no longer going. We were lucky enough to go and see them for their last two live gigs.
Last two shows in London.
Last two live shows in London.
Back in 2011.
And they are just the nicest guys in the world. Mark Morris on stage, being almost tearful because it was their last gig.
Yeah.
Really got me. It choked me up, mate. Yeah. It choked me up. But yeah, a real quick hit this week. So go and download Return to the Last Chance Saloon by the Blue Tones. It's a 1998 classic.
I would say that 4 Day Weekend, which is a classic little rock track.
That's our anthem.
It's great. That was our song, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was a song that you and I, particularly when we'd been for a night out and were a few sheets to the wind, we would always put that on, crank it up, and harmonise like something else. But the trouble is, we always seem to, because there's a bit, because Mark Morris, the lead singer, was always backed up on vocals by his brother Scott Morris, who was the bass player. And Mark would sort of sing the lower track and Scott would sing the slightly higher backing bits. And there's one particular bit where we would always, and we wouldn't necessarily sing the same part, but we would always fall into one of the parts each. Again, it was sort of one of the bits of music. I'd say the Blue Tones and the Foo Fighters,
they're our bands, aren't they?
They were two bands that we very much bonded over. Yep. But also, they're probably the two bands that together we've been to see more than anything else.
Yeah, indeed.
We've been to a lot of their gigs. And just a cracking little album. As you say, even stuff like Broken Star, At the Reservoir.
I think one of my favourite tracks on the album is a track called Ames, or Armes. No, I've never known how to pronounce it. I believe that is the Please Your Sympathy's Not What I Crave. What a great song. What a great album.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it was kind of seen as the
lesser.
Kind of the falling away from the first album. So the first album was so hugely popular, almost as part of the Britpop scene.
Yeah.
And this second album was them sort of moving a bit away from that. And the first single off it, which was Solomon Bites the Worm, I remember seeing that on Top of the Pops, and everybody was like, oh yeah, Blue Tones are back. And then everything else that came after it, I mean, If was a single, Sleazy Bed Track was a single.
Well,
and I think
good memory, well done.
Yes, and even 4 Day Weekend was released as a single as well. And they all kind of fell away, and I'm not sure if they even charted. I think If did, but it only just broke the top 20. And it was kind of seen as, the difficult second album. And I love the first album. I love Expecting to Fly, but this one's right up there with it.
I think this
it is a great... And what I love about it is they're just 4 great musicians, if you take the voice being an instrument as well.
Very much so.
But, a fine album.
Definitely an album that I think cemented them as a great British rock band.
Should have done, but probably didn't.
Did in my heart.
Exactly, to us
did in
it
my
did.
heart, and that's enough for me. So
amazing.
Mark Morris, Adam Devlin, Scott Morris and Ez Chesters, well done, thank you guys. If any of you are listening, or anyone who knows them is listening, ask them to get back together, because I'd love to go and see you again, guys. Love you, bye. Well, Graham, batter up. What have you got for us this week then?
I have, and again, this is kind of spinning off from the Comic-Con, I have a cracking little comic title called Widdershins, which was which was written and drawn by Kate Ashwin, and this isn't something that before the con I'd heard of. And what you tend to get at the Comic-Con, you get these big name creators sat in Artist Alley, but amongst them are these independent creators, these people who might do web comics or very low print one comics that they're actually publishing themselves. And it's always good to check out the art and check out what's out there. And as I was walking down the first row of Artist Alley, this young lady thrust a flyer in my direction, and I...
Save the clock tower!
And I had a look, and one thing that struck me immediately was the art. I thought the art was absolutely fantastic, and it was Widdershins. And I thought, okay, so I had a read of it, and it was effectively this fictional town in Yorkshire that is very much based in magic, called Widdershins, set back in the 1800s. And to me, the artwork is very much the shop window for any comic. So you look at the art, and that's what immediately draws you in. You know, you obviously can't pick up what a story is going to be like from 10 seconds, but you can look at art and say, do you know what, I am drawn to that. And this was something that I kept walking past and seeing the backdrop and seeing the books out and thinking, shall I pick that up? Shall I pick that up? And I kind of left it late because effectively I just wanted to see how much money I had left the weekend. And reached a stage where it got to about lunchtime on the Sunday, and I thought, you know what, I'll have a crack. So I went over and had a chat with Kate, and
who was very nice.
She was very nice, and I have to say, I did feel quite bad because she was with who I assume was her partner. Yeah. And I didn't realise that he had his own book.
Yeah.
I assumed they were both there promoting the same thing.
And which I can't remember what it was called. Yeah, and I feel so guilty that I can't remember it.
And I apologise to him for not having chatted to him about his, but I thought they were both there for the same thing.
If it means anything, I can tell you that his book was about a woman who accidentally marries a skull. I'm pretty sure if you put that in Google, you'll find some shit.
Brilliant. Okay. But yeah, so I went over and had a chat with Kate and just said, okay, tell me a bit about this. And she told me, and I thought, you know what, I'll have a punt. So I picked up volume 1. It was only a tenner, and I'd started reading it when we went to the pub. We went down to the pub sort of early on Sunday afternoon. I started reading that, and then I finished reading it whilst I was queuing for a signature from someone. And you know what? I was blown away. It was absolutely fantastic. What I was particularly drawn to was the humour. It had great characters in it, in which you were immediately invested. It was beautifully drawn and very cleverly laid out in some parts as well. There's bits
so it's colourised. I thought,
yes.
Looking at the cover, I don't know why, I just assumed it would be black and white.
No, it is colour, but there's some bits that where somebody will be having a rant about something, that takes up a huge part of the page, and a speech by somebody else will happen over it. And it's just very clever storytelling devices like that. And like I say, by the end of it, I was truly invested in the two main characters. So much so that I went straight back and said, I really want to buy volume 2. Can I get it on your website? I don't really have the money now. And she said, yeah, sure. Yeah, the website's on the back. So I thought, right, I'll do that. But then a couple of hours later, thought, you know what? I probably got a spare tenner. So I went and picked up volume 2. And there's 4 volumes. And apparently it started as a webcomic. So I'd imagine people can go online and have a look at the webcomic. But I imagined that volume 2 was going to be following on from volume 1 with these 2 characters. And it was only when Kate said, oh, okay, this one's volume 2, and picked up a book that didn't have the 2 characters from volume 1. And I said, oh, is that not volume 3? And she said, no, this is 2. And then her partner said,
Did you say, are you sure? And she went, I should fucking know. I wrote it.
But her partner backed it up and said, but that's got my favourite character in it, Volume 2. So I said, oh, okay, right. So picked up Volume 2.
So is it a completely unrelated story, or is
almost
it kind of...
There's
got to read it today.
Yes, there's a crossover. There's a part in Volume 1 where they're on a train and they interact with these two people, and they turn out to be the two people from Volume 2, and you see the interaction from the other people's perspective.
Stuff like that. I like stuff like that.
Absolutely.
So the first book is called Sleight of Hand, yeah?
Yes, Sleight of Hand, and then the second one is called No Rest for the Wicked.
Right.
And as I say, I thought, well, I want to find out more about the story of the guys from Volume 1, but Volume 2 is equally good. It's just fantastic. And again, the same humour, the same... I don't want to say wacky characters, because that makes it sound... But they're interesting, they're different, and, they're all very...
individual.
Yeah, and just unusual. Yeah. And, sort of quirky in a way. And I just love it. And like I say, I'm going to go on the website to pick up Volumes 3 and 4, and Kate did tell me that Volume 5 will be out in the summer. Nice. I'm already looking forward to that, and it's almost one of those things that you think, I want more and I want it now. And it's almost like, once I'm up to date...
Like me in the crack.
Yeah. I mean, Kate said she looks at getting one book done a year. And I just think, once I'm up to date, I'm going to be clamouring for the next volume. So, yeah, just, I mean...
Do you know what Widdershins means?
I don't, no.
Widdershins, it's a term meaning to go counterclockwise.
There you go.
So to go backwards, I suppose.
So, you can pick these books up online. The website is www.widdershinscomic.com. Widdershins is WIDDERSHINS. And then comic.com.
And we'll put some pictures, I suppose, up on the Facebook page of these, because I think the artwork on them is absolutely beautiful.
It is fantastic, isn't it?
Is there anything you could liken it to?
No, and this is the great thing.
That's why it's even better.
This is it. It is so original. It is so unique. It is clever. It's funny. It's interesting. There's an aspect of adventure to it as well. So, no, I just think... And magic, obviously, plays a huge part. And just highly recommended. I'll put the link up on the Facebook page as well. It did start life as a webcomic, so I'm sure people can go on and check out the art online. So my quick hit is Widdershins by Kate Ashwin. Please do check it out.
Good stuff.
Hi, this is Kate Ashwin, creator of Widdershins, and you're listening to Geek-Minded Fools.
Okay, now we'll move on to this episode's main topic.
When they got the ball, you know they won't drop it. The Geek-Minded Fools discuss the main topic.
So obviously we dedicated an episode to the con before, and really didn't feel that day 2 would top that, but it
We
did.
kind of thought that day 1 was so big that we'd said all that needed to be said about it.
We were wrong.
But then day 2 happened.
Oh God, did it?
Did it? Did it?
Oh jeez, did it?
It was fantastic.
It was a great day.
Again,
So sorry to bore you, but we're going to talk about the Comic Con again.
We're just going to talk about some of the fantastic people and the experiences we had. Starting with...
Go on, starting with...
The only signature you wanted for that day was Mr. Dave Gibbons.
It was.
Now, for those who don't know, Dave Gibbons is a very famous British artist. Started sort of back in the 2000 AD days in the early 80s, but... Probably most famous for being the artist on The Watchmen, but also has done Give Me Liberty with Frank Miller, did The Secret Service, of course, with Mark Miller, which was recently turned into the Kingsman film. So, a hugely popular and talented artist.
Legend!
And you wanted your copy of Watchmen signed by him.
I did. I queued up. I queued up with 3 absolute morons behind me who were basically slagging off everyone who was exhibiting at the Comic Con. I'm not going to give them any more airtime. Just to say they were dickheads.
Sorry, but in what way? Why were they?
They were bad mouthing people. They were basically saying that they'd been to the San Diego Comic Con and that the London Super Comic Con would probably have fitted inside the San Diego Comic Con's cloakroom. I don't care.
It isn't trying to compete with the San Diego.
Exactly.
Nothing could compete with the San Diego Comic Con. It's the biggest Comic Con in the world.
Exactly.
But London is its own show. It has its own identity. It isn't trying to be anything else.
Yeah,
so.
they were slating, people like Glenn Fabry. They were slating Brian Bolland. They were. And it was,
as you say, dickheads.
They were just dickheads, and I think that they were the kind of people who were speaking at the volume that they wanted other people to hear them.
Yeah, I know the sort.
They were just tool bags, and they know they were, and if they are listening, you dickheads.
Well, I hope they're not.
I hope they're not, but well, I don't know. I hope they are. You dickheads. Anyway, Dave Gibbons. Queued up dutifully to see Dave. First time I've been in his presence, if you like, since 97, 98 was UCAT?
Well, the last UCAT was 97, so it would be 96 or 97. Those were the 2 years you came.
Pretty sure it was 97 that I met him for the first time, and he did that wonderful Batman sketch for me.
Yep.
Just what a great guy. He's just really nice. I went up, I took my Watchmen graphic novel up, and just basically told him exactly what I've just said to you guys. It's been a good 20 odd years since I've seen you last. You did me an amazing Batman sketch, and he was like, "God, yeah, things have changed," and he was just a lovely man anyway.
Hi, I'm Dave Gibbons, artist of The Watchmen, and you're listening to Geek-Minded Fools.
He, most importantly, Graham, did a little one-off Rorschach sketch for me in the front of my Watchmen graphic novel, which I didn't ask for. In fact, I almost threw it back at him and went, "You've ruined that, Dave. All I wanted was a signature. That was going on eBay, you twat." But no, he's done a beautiful Rorschach.
You joke, but of course there are people like that.
Of course, there are people like that out there. He's done a beautiful Rorschach sketch in the front of my Watchmen, which now, to me, makes it one of the most priceless items that I own. It's I love the book anyway. To have the artist sign it,
because of course they are supposed to be there, and people take great pleasure in saying 3 book maximum, and so people are literally supposed to be signature and you're away, and therefore to get him to do a sketch is fantastic. So.
Yeah, I mean, and again, it wasn't. I didn't ask for it. Mm-hmm. He just, we just got chatting for a second. And he went, "Do you want me to do you a little sketch?" And I was like, "Yeah, do I? Of course I do. Do I, Dave? Yeah!" And then everything went freeze frame, and I jumped up in the air. If only that had happened. But yeah, so that was Dave Gibbons. I believe you made a little you made a point of saying on the last episode that people should have a drinking game. Every time I say "lovely man,"
no, we say.
Oh, just us in general. I think guys, pick that game up again because there's going to be a lot of lovely in this one.
We just kept saying he was a lovely man. He was
what a lovely man!
Weren't they lovely?
What a lovely man! We're basically just the kind of the equivalent of the 2 old biddies in the League of Gentlemen. Do you want a bag with that, dear? What's a good one? That one.
Oh, love it.
What else did we see on the second day, Graham?
Well,
remind me.
Probably the biggest thing for me was Neal Adams.
Yes.
Comics legend Neal Adams. Now, Neal Adams is, if I would say...
Dressed like a comedy gangster.
If there was a hierarchy of comic legends within the business, I would say that Neal Adams is probably one step down from Stan Lee. He's that big, he's that renowned. He was primarily known as an artist, but has done lots of writing since then as well. He's famous for, he's done big runs on Green Lantern, Batman in the 70s, and has just carried on. He does an awful lot of covers now. Recently did a very popular DC series called Batman Odyssey, a 12-parter. Told me he's now working on a 6-issue Superman series in the same format. But I just thought, you know what the heck? Neil may not be over again, so I'm going to get a sketch done by him. So I went up and asked if I could get a Daredevil sketch done. I had a Daredevil blank cover, and they kindly agreed to do that. And it was just outstanding because I sort of went away and had a wander around and came back about half an hour later and noticed he was drawing it. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to get a photo of him drawing it. And as I got my phone out and sort of was lurking behind him somewhat, the guy who was running security for them came round and sort of said, "Oh, can I help you?" What the fuck are you doing here? And I said, "Oh, Neil's actually sketching my comic and I just wanted to get a couple of photos of him doing it." And he said, "Oh, that's yours. Do you want to sit next to him?" And I was like, "Can I do that?" And he was like, "Yeah, of course, yeah, if he's doing yours." So I scooted in, sat down next to him and said, "Hi, Neil, is it all right if I sit here? That's my comic." And he said, "Yeah, sure." And I sat there for about 15-20 minutes and just chatted to Neal Adams and was just asking him all kinds of stuff, why he tends to focus on DC work rather than Marvel now, and apparently it's because, in his words, Marvel's page rate is shit, whereas DC's is good, and that's why he only does covers for Marvel now. But just getting a background, and we were having such a good laugh. And
is this the first time you've met him? First time you've...
Yes, yeah. I mean, he was here 2 years ago, but I
couldn't get near the table.
Yeah, exactly.
In fact, he had a Superman shirt on last time he was there, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did. Yeah.
To actually sit there and just to have a chat with him and ask him what he's doing and any characters that he would love to work on that he hasn't. And he said, "I'm Neal Adams. I can work on whatever I like."
Yeah. And not in a big-headed way. He didn't say that.
No,
he
of course,
was, you know, I'm Neal Adams, pretty much.
He actually said to me, because he said last time they were in London, they went to the set of The Edge of Tomorrow, which was filming over here, the Tom Cruise film, and he was saying, and Tom Cruise showed us around, and then he looked at me and sort of shot me this little expression and said, being Neal Adams does have its perks. And it was just brilliant. And then...
one thing that struck me about him, you know, I was expecting him to be quite a serious guy.
He was really funny, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, because obviously given the body of work that he's got, I don't know why I always think this. I always think if someone's got a very big body of work, they surely must be a very serious person.
Very serious.
He's off his head.
He was hilarious. I mean, the thing was that...
Obviously a Monty Python fan.
Yes. His wife, who's there taking all the orders, when I was given the book, she said, can I take your name? And I said, yeah, it's Graham. And she said, in your surname? And I said, Brian. And she said, oh, you've got the old double name thing. Yeah. And I said, yes. And she said, oh, I was talking to somebody yesterday who had the same thing, you know, 2 potential first names.
Had the same problem.
First name, yeah, had the same affliction. And then said, what's your middle name? And I said, Edwin. She said, oh, so all 3 could be interchangeable. And I was like, yeah, exactly. And Neil suddenly picked up on this and was basically just taking the piss out of her and saying, oh, I can't believe it. You've got 3 names. I don't know which order to write them down. And it was absolutely... He was just doing this stupid high pitch, and then he was saying how much he loved that Monty Python used to do that, and how these sort of big men could do these high pitched women's voices, and how it always made him laugh.
He was very much channeling Terry Jones.
Very much so, and it was just hilarious. And he was such a great guy. And I got some photos of him, obviously sitting next to him. I got some photos of him not only in the process of drawing the comic, but with the comic when it was finished. And I'll put those up on the Facebook page because it is amazing. But just to be able to sit there and you know, for let's say 15-20 minutes and just chat to an absolute comics legend was fantastic. Again, that is the reason you go to cons, you know, to try and get some face time with these people. But sit there so long with a guy who's so huge with the industry, it was brilliant.
Hello, this is Neal Adams, and I'm a geek-minded fool. And you should tune in to the geek-minded fools on the internet, because they're there being geek-minded fools, just like you and me.
The area that you had there as well was quite a large area of the hall as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, because he was selling prints and original sketches. You know, I mean, he was really the banner name at the con.
I mean, I'm not overly familiar, as you know, as we've said a number of times on our podcasts. I mean, you're the comic guy, I'm the movie guy. I mean, I wasn't overly familiar with him until standing there at his stall meeting him this year and seeing his work. What a talent, though! Wow. I mean, photorealistic. Some of the artwork that he does is beautiful. Yet again, he can turn it on its head and do that very, very classic comic style as well. Very, very, just an amazing artist. And Graham, lovely guy,
lovely man,
lovely man,
absolutely
lovely man.
Another thing we did day 2 was go back to Mark Farmer, who of course on day 1 had done me the Fantastic Four sketches as we spoke out last time, and I thought, you know what, I like Mark's art, so I'm going to get him to do me a Spidey sketch. And asked him to do it, and we stood there and watched him doing it. And again, to see these people work is brilliant, isn't it? Because him to just sketch it out and then ink it and do it was just an amazing experience. And the funny thing was, he was sat next to this guy who also had an independent comic, which was about... It
was about 3 Westies, as in the little dogs, who had created a detective agency, and their first case was to go on the hunt for the rubber chicken. Yeah, Mark loved the rubber chicken, didn't he?
So this guy had a squeaky rubber chicken, and he was squeaking it to try and get people to come over to them.
Or to attract dogs.
But Mark was sat next to him, and every time this bloke squeaked it, Mark would shoot him this look as if saying, mate, if you don't fucking stop that, that's going up your arse.
Because as jovial as Mark Farmer is, he's got quite a dry delivery, isn't he?
Absolutely.
I can imagine him at one stage turning around going, I'm going to stick that up your fucking arse in a minute if you don't shut up.
It was great. But the great thing is that Mark then finished this sketch, and we'd asked him to do a little soundbite for us.
We'd hassled him previously.
For the podcast, and so he knew that we had a podcast. It was called Geek-Minded Fools, and he did this great thing when he sort of finished the sketch, and then he sort of gave a quick surreptitious flick of the eyes up to my T-shirt, and I was wearing a T-shirt with our Geek-Minded Fools logo on it, and he quickly flicked up. And then he suddenly did a little speech bubble, didn't he? Yeah. And just had Spidey saying, I'm a geek-minded fool. Yeah. Which was absolutely fantastic.
Bit of a legendary moment, really, for the geek-minded fools in general.
You know, to do it off his own back was great. And again, I shall put a picture of that on the Facebook page, because that, again, was just a fantastic moment. We also had a good chat with Brian Bolland, but not as good a chat as Mark. Our friend Mark, who...
Porno Mark.
Yes, Porno Mark, as we know him, for reasons which we will go into in a future podcast. Nothing too sordid, I assure you.
No. He hasn't got the sword for that.
And him and Brian Bolland just seemed to... And the funny thing is, so many people talk about how dour he can seem and come across as maybe a little bit miserable. For example, earlier in the day, I'd asked him to sign a couple of Judge Dredd books for me. And I said to him, I was very much spoiled because I came over to 2000 AD for Prog 86 from Star-Lord.
Yeah.
And my first...
Prog 86 for the uninitiated is issue 86.
Issue 86 of 2000 AD, yes. And my first story was the day the Lord died, and the first artist to work on that was Brian Bolland. So the first Judge Dredd story I ever read was drawn by Brian Bolland, and therefore to me he's the benchmark and he's my favourite Dredd artist. He has such beautiful, clear, concise art and it is just a thing of beauty. And I said to him, I was spoilt because you were my first Dredd artist and kind of everybody else sort of, falls to the wayside compared to you. And rather than take it as a compliment to his work, he kind of took it as a bit of a diss to everyone else and said, oh, okay, right, so I was a bit like, okay.
That's not what I meant, Brian!
I wasn't slagging them off, I was trying to be nice.
I've heard a lot of people say Brian Bolland can be a little bit, cantankerous, a little bit grumpy, a little bit Larry David-esque.
Yeah.
But as you say, shockingly, Mark and he
get
a room.
But then Mark loves his work. He has all these art books and all this stuff. And he and Mark, when they get together, they just yak and yak and yak. Yeah. And it is like two best friends getting together.
Yeah.
And Mark was stood there, and you could tell the people in the queue behind him were getting a bit like, come mate, all right, I want to get this book signed. Because they were chatting for about 10 minutes, weren't they?
Yeah, indeed. And
get a room.
Get a room, you toe. But the fact of the matter is, I think because Mark is very much like yourself, has followed 2000 AD from the very beginning. Mark has, so he's come up with all that sort of stuff, and is a huge Bolland fan. I think you can see when Mark was talking to him just how honoured he was to be talking to him.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I don't think that's why Brian Bolland was particularly any more, receptive to him. I don't know why. Do you know what? I wasn't really overly listening to their conversation, but. Whatever happened there, it was kind of like a heart-to-heart moment.
Absolutely.
When they met,
it was murder. It was murder.
Hello, my name's Brian Bolland, artist of The Killing Joke, various Judge Dredd stories and a lot of covers, and you're listening to Geek-Minded Fools.
A lovely moment, that though.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. And of course, Mark also got a beautiful bit of art by Bill Sienkiewicz.
He did.
Late Doors, which he'd asked him to do on the Saturday.
Who Sienkiewicz featured in our beautiful
photo,
team-up photo.
That's right. He was one of the five that we met in the pub, and very famous for doing the Electra Assassin graphic novel.
Yeah.
And so Mark said, "Can you do me a sketch?" And Bill said, "Okay, sketches are 200." Mark said, "Can you do me anything for 100?"
Yeah.
And for that, thought he would just get something very basic, and then. Queued up on the Sunday afternoon, sort of got to Bill and said, I asked you to do me a sketch, did you manage to do anything? And he pulled out this incredible, almost sort of life-size headshot of the lecture that he'd done, but just in black and white. And I think Mark was like going to say, oh, brilliant, thank you very much. And then Bill just put it down and just coloured the whole thing in.
Yeah.
And it was incredible.
It's a phenomenal
and you could
bit of
see
art.
the look on Mark's face.
Oh, yeah.
He was just absolutely blown away. And I think, and he also bought a couple of prints that Bill signed for him.
And also, the fact of the matter is, Mark did extraordinarily well on the Sunday because he was only there an hour.
Yes.
You and I were there from early doors, weren't we?
Well, because he had to leave quite early on the Saturday evening
Yeah.
Because he was DJing, wasn't he?
He was, yes.
And so he'd been up till the early hours and therefore overslept and didn't arrive till sort of mid-afternoon when you and I were pretty much ready to go.
We were very ready to go.
We were sagging definitely by that stage. Yes, yeah. we were drooping. But funny enough, somebody else from the picture that we got in the pub, Klaus Janssen.
Oh yeah.
It was a great moment. I queued up because I had a hardcover book called Daredevil End of Days, which was penciled by Klaus Janssen, inked by Bill Sienkiewicz, and co-written by David Mack, all of whom were there. So I got it signed on the Saturday by David Mack and said to him, can you sign this? And he said, yeah, sure. And
I remember this now, yes.
And he signed it, and then he put this little funny half moon, or like a quarter moon thing. Crescent moon with sort of 3 lines coming off it.
Almost like an Egyptian hieroglyph.
Yes, indeed. And I sort of looked at it and thought, okay, don't remember anything like that in the story, but okay, so thanks very much. That morning, funny enough, I was reading the second part of Widdershins when I was queuing up for Bill Sienkiewicz. So I gave it to him, he signed it and did the same little crescent moon with the 3 lines coming off it. So the last part of the trio was Klaus Janssen. So I queued for him. I was about fourth in the queue, so it wasn't too long. And when I got it to him, he opened it up and he looked. And he sort of looked at it and went, why have they both done this? Yeah. And I said, if I'm honest, Klaus, I don't know. And he went, okay. So he signed it, and then he really slowly did his own one, did his own little crescent moon with lines coming off it. And then as he handed the book back to me, he kind of shrugged as if saying, I don't know why I did this, but I don't want to be the one not to do it.
Fair play.
Which was absolutely brilliant. It was so funny. It was just, very entertaining.
Maybe you'll never get the answer to that.
Maybe not. I kind of hope not.
Yeah.
Because it will always be a story. It will always be this enigma.
The Half Moon Enigma story. We like that a lot.
Now, one thing I should point out is a theme throughout the whole weekend. Can you think what the theme of the weekend was, Scott?
God, you've thrown this on me.
Oh!
Can I think what the theme of the weekend was? What, our theme in general?
Our theme. The theme between our little group.
No, do you know what? No, I can't. Go on.
Scott turned up wearing a new pair of glasses.
Oh, okay.
And I sort of kept looking at these glasses and saying, you look like someone, you remind me of someone. And I suddenly realised that these glasses made him look exactly like Kevin Costner from the movie JFK.
Which is no bad thing.
And so the theme throughout the weekend just became back and to the left. So it was like, so Scott, tell us, how do you part your hair?
Yeah. Back and to the left.
And it was just, throughout the whole thing, we were just constantly referencing back and to the left. And I'm sure, particularly when you're doing it around comic creators, people are looking at you like you're crazy. But again, just a nice little fun bit for us.
If you don't get that joke, by the way, guys, watch JFK. If you can't find it, it's to the back and to the left.
Now, another guy we spoke to was Neal Edwards, and funnily enough, in the last episode, we were talking about how it must be great for creators who create their work in a vacuum to come to these cons and actually get to meet your audience face to face.
Yeah.
And I was saying that to Neil, and he was saying it is exactly that, and he was saying that he creates he's an artist, and he draws in his box room at home. And he said, and the only people who really see his art, apart from the publishers that he sent it to, are his wife and 2 kids. And he was saying that's why he loves coming to shows like this. And we had a really good long chat with him, didn't we, about his process and his art and, some of the stuff he's done. We enjoyed it. I particularly liked his work on Spider-Man Season 1, which was sort of a retelling of Spider-Man's origin. And he was saying that it is great, to come to cons like this. And I'm pretty sure he's been there every year but one. And he was saying, funnily enough, one thing that we didn't touch on, he was saying it's very humbling. He was saying because you create this stuff and you don't get the feedback, he says to hear how much it means to people and how much they love it. He was saying it is very humbling. And it is interesting when you get to chat with people and actually see things from their perspective, from a creator's perspective rather than from our, the audience perspective, how you sort of get those insights. And it was really interesting. And again, a lovely, lovely man.
He was a lovely man, actually. He was a very nice guy. That's the first time I've met him, first time I've really heard of him, to be honest.
Right, okay.
But yeah, was a real nice guy, wasn't he?
Yeah,
because he's the kind of guy you can imagine having a good long chat to you down the pub about all things comics, and he wouldn't be the one to be walking out the door because he'd be bored. He loves what he does.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Neal Edwards at the London Super Comic Con, and I'm with Geek-Minded Fools, and I'm currently on Doctor Who for Titan Comics.
With him, I broke a record last year for the speed of getting a book signed by both the writer and the artist when they're not sitting together. Because last year I got the last trade paperback of the X Factor run, and he was the artist and Peter David was the writer. And they were sitting just opposite but slightly across from each other. And
back and to the left.
Back and to the left. And I got Peter David sign it and then shot across to Neal Edwards because he was on his own saying, "Could you sign this?" And I said, "That is my record for getting something signed by the writer and artist." And he said, "Really?" And I said, "Yeah, because Peter's over there." And he went, "Is Peter over there?" And he didn't even know he was at the show. And he was going, "Hello, Peter, how are you?" And it was great.
Like a proper couple of wrong-uns.
Absolutely.
Hello
there.
Oh, bless him.
But somebody who you and I have had a chat with every year and is a lovely, lovely man was Mark Buckingham. And funnily enough, on the Sunday again, I went out and said, "Mark, do you know what? I haven't spoken to you." And he said, "Oh, hello." And he actually recognised me from previous years because he's, again, somebody that, you can always have a good chat with.
You went, "Oh, hello, I think the restraining order's still in place, isn't it?"
Yeah.
Shut up and touch me.
And he was telling me that he's just finishing his work on Fables and he's just going to start on Miracle Man for Marvel. Obviously the old Marvel Man as it was back in the UK days. But he was also saying he's looking at doing his own self-published title, because I was saying, what else do you want to work on? He said, to be honest with you, I've kind of done everything that I want to do and I'm looking at doing my own thing. And he was saying he was looking at quite a fantasy type title, more in the way of Fables that he's been working on recently.
Must be a nice situation to be in.
Absolutely. And he was saying that he's touting it around publishers, trying to see who's the best fit, but if none of them feel right, then he'll self-publish. And again, it's just nice to get a little insight. And he was saying, there'll be more news coming on that in June, and it's just nice to get,
a peek behind the curtain,
a scoop,
yeah,
so to speak.
Is that our first scoop?
That's our first scoop, Scott. Mark Buckingham's own potentially self-published title. But again,
don't let us down now, Mark. Don't let us down, because we'll look right twats.
Just the top bloke.
Hello, I'm Mark Buckingham, artist of Fables, and you're listening to Geek-Minded Fools.
But other people that of note we met, Bob Layton, who is a fantastic Iron Man artist, but is also just a really funny bloke, wasn't he? I asked him to sign some Secret Wars because he was the artist on a couple of it. Because I always thought Mike Zeck did all the art on the Secret Wars 12-issue series back in the 80s. But Bob Layton did a couple of issues, and I was sort of asking him a question about how he felt about the bad rep that sort of Secret Wars got, because a lot of people saw it as a bit of a toy cash-in, because of course people say that it spun out of the fact that
I vividly remember all the toy commercials.
Yeah.
I remember the toy commercials more than they do the actual series.
Comics, yeah, that's right. Well, because apparently it was because Mattel went to Marvel and said, we want to do some superhero toys. Can you create a series for us to promote it? And it
shameless.
And it actually literally went that way. But no, Bob was saying, I think it's a great bit of work. And I think for a series, the Spider-Man Black Symbiote costume came out of it. And so Venom was pretty much born from the Secret Wars series.
I vividly remember there being a massive box set of something like 25 figurines that you could get.
Oh, okay.
I never got them, but I always remember seeing them advertised in comics and thinking, I'd love those. those.
Hi, this is Bob Layton, Iron Man artist and mature sex symbol, and you're listening to Geek-Minded Fools.
So Bob was a nice guy. Now, another guy that I met, and if I'm honest, I was amazed that more people weren't hassling him, and that's a guy called Paul Levitz. Now, Paul Levitz was the creator of the Legion of Superheroes title for DC. He was also previously the publisher of DC. He was the president of DC. This guy's a huge name in comics. But I think probably he's so old school now that sort of anyone under 40 probably wouldn't have had a clue who he was and what he's achieved within the industry. And I sort of went over and had a really nice chat with him and got a photo done with him as well, which I'll stick up on the Facebook page. But yeah, just a really interesting guy, and sat next to Ron Mars, who is a really great writer. He's done Witchblade and Green Lantern, sort of quite a famous run on Green Lantern.
Hi, this is Ron Mars, writer of a bunch of stuff, including Witchblade and Shinku and John Carter of Mars and Skylanders right now. And you're listening to Geek-Minded Fools.
But yeah, two very big names with the industry and very popular creators. But
he was a very sweet man, wasn't he, Paul Levitz?
Yeah,
very, very nice.
But they both sort of seem to be a bit
spoken,
tucked away. And Ron Mars was getting fairly regular traffic, but sort of poor old Paul Levitz was sat on the end, and as I say, sort of looked almost just like a nice little old man, and therefore maybe didn't get the attention that he deserved.
And the only one of the weekend who questioned our request for a soundbite for the podcast, I believe, was he not?
Yes, I asked him to do it, and I think probably because I referenced our logo, which was, as I say, on my t-shirt, and I think he probably saw the Jason Voorhees mask, but also the little blood spatters to the side, and thought, are these guys talking about the stuff that I do, or are they talking about nasty stuff? So,
what did he say to you? He said, I want to make sure that the podcast is not about killing animals.
Killing animals, he said, yeah.
No, that's our other podcast that we put out on the Tuesday.
Yes. So, fortunately, I had a couple of episodes on my phone, and I played in the start of episode 2, and as I was playing it, I was just thinking, please don't let there be any swearing in this bit, please.
Hope it's not a bit with me then.
But he listened to it for about 3 minutes, said, yeah, that sounds fine, and then did the soundbite, which was fantastic, really nice.
I like the fact that you questioned it.
Absolutely. Well,
not that I'm saying I dislike the fact that no one else did, but I just thought that's what a proper elder statesman of the business.
This is it, clearly.
I'm not putting my name to any old shit.
Cares about what he's putting his name to. Yeah,
so that's that's got to say something, that he's happy to do it for us.
He has integrity. Absolutely.
Indeed.
Hello, this is Paul Levitz, listening to Geek-Minded Fools as I work on my new comic, Dr. Fate.
Another story I should tell is poor old John McCrae, who is the artist on Hitman and Dix and various other titles. That
Not to be confused with the Hitman video game series, obviously.
No. The Garth Ennis written Hitman DC series. And I went to him on the Saturday. Every year that the Cobden's been on, I've got a cover sketch by John McCrae. So I asked him to do a Hulk. So I gave him a Hulk comic and said, could you do me a Hulk sketch on that?
Another blank variant cover.
He said, yeah, and he sort of jotted it down, took my details, paid the man. And off I took. And then I came back at the end of day one. I said, "Oh, did you manage to do the Hulk sketch?" And he said, "Oh yeah." And he started filtering through his stuff. And I saw the comic on the bottom of the pile. And I said, "Oh, there's the comic." And he went, "Oh, okay." And he pulled it out, and it was blank. And he sort of paused and went, "Oh, you wanted it on there, didn't you?" And I said, "Yeah." And he pulled out, and he'd done this beautiful big sketch on a bit of paper of the Hulk. And I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And he said, "No problem. My fault. I'll do it." And then I managed to get one done by him on the Sunday, and we literally picked up just before he was going to dash out.
Yeah.
Funny enough, when he was leaving, you were outside having a cigarette, and he
told me off.
Vile habits.
Yeah, dirty habit.
As he shot past.
As he lit a cigarette. No, he didn't. He didn't really.
But yeah, he's
lovely sketch as well.
He's a good guy.
Really nice. Really nice cover.
I will put a picture of that on the Facebook page as well.
Hello there, this is John McCrae here, artist on Hitman, Spider-Man and the upcoming comic Mythic for Image, and you're listening to Geek-Minded Fools.
But also as well, I think it's the closest I've seen you to properly geeking out.
Go on.
Was the moment when John McCrae was stood there and there was another guy stood in front of John McCrae with his back to us, and I didn't know who it was until obviously he turned around, but it was Garth Ennis, wasn't it?
It was Garth Ennis.
The creative team behind the aforementioned Hitman.
Absolutely. And I was sort of stood there only really to talk to John to see if he'd done the sketch, and suddenly realised it was Garth stood there. And I think Garth carried on talking it and sort of thought, hang on, I've got a geek next to me who knows who we are, kind of thing. Yeah. And so waited for them to finish, and then got a photo with them both, which was great. And
good photo as well.
And the only the sad thing was, obviously, Garth and me were both in front of the table, and John's behind the table, so he looks tiny compared to.
I think the photo's brilliant because it looks like he's photo bombing. I really like the
John
picture.
McCrae photo bombing a picture of me and Garth Ennis.
Plus the fact that I always find Garth Ennis a very imposing figure anyway, so it's kind of like McCrae behind me.
Yes, back there, son, where you belong. Now, funny enough, that was pretty much our day, and as I say, it was as jam-packed and entertaining as the first one, apart from one last thing, and that was when we were waiting for Mark to get a bit of cardboard in order to protect his Electra sketch.
Yeah.
And so you and I were sat on the floor by the exit waiting to go, and there was these horrible kids running around, and clearly what they'd done is they'd sort of managed to blag their way in, and were just...
You say blag, I say they just outright run in there.
Yeah. They claimed that somebody had said it was okay for them to go in, and they were running back, but clearly
they claimed, I think, Graham, that bloke let me in, yeah? Yeah. That's what they claimed.
Clearly they were on the rob, weren't they?
Yeah.
They were there to try and nick stuff, and they were running about, causing a ruckus, but then they went over to the merchandise table for the con, where you've got all the limited edition comics and prints and what have you, and they were sort of there in force, trying to hassle this woman to see if they could grab one, and Scott was like, right, I'm not having that.
Do you want to know how much of that I was having?
Go on.
Fucking none of it.
None of it.
Because I tell you what, I hate badly behaved children.
Now, the moment you told Mark about it, Mark went straight over there and sort of not quite shoot them away, but started talking to the woman and effectively sort of muscled them out the way. Yeah. And then you went straight to one of the staff and said, oi, those kids shouldn't be in there. And that woman went into full nasty mode, didn't she? Yeah. She was like, oi, and carted them out. And it was the perfect end to a perfect day, wasn't it?
It was. And the fact of the matter is, Graham, that when she did kick them out, I pointed out to you and Mark that they then went out to the cafeteria area and they were eyeing up people's bags.
Yes, they were.
Because they were on the dip, basically. They were pickpocketing. Yeah. So, people of London Super Comic Con 2015... If you got home and your wallet wasn't nicked, you've got me to thank for it. All right?
Well. You've done exceptionally well. But, apologies for going over the con again, but we just had such a great down day too. We just wanted to finish it off a bit, didn't we?
Yeah, indeed. I make no apologies, because I think we had loads to talk about.
We did.
And now it's done. You'll just have to wait until 2016 for more. more Comic-Con related goodness.
More of our witterings and more use of the word lovely.
Yeah, until then there will be more wittering, just not about the Comic-Con.
No, indeed. But that's all for this episode. So from myself, Graham.
And myself, Scott.
Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you next week.